California Dream Program is back. It's coming back April 2024 for the second go round. My name is Paul Brands, owner of Clear to Close Brokers. In this video, we are going to talk about what California Dream Program is, some of the changes from last year, and more importantly, if you qualify, how to reserve your funds for your down payment. So what do you say we get started? Actually, before we get started, I want you to notice that little QR code in the top right-hand corner. What that is, that's a link to my calendar. At any point you want to set up an appointment with me, I call it a hopes and dreams conversation, where we do not pull any credit. We don't talk applications, collect documents, of course, unless you want to. But it's meant just to answer your questions and make sure that you and your family are on a great path to home ownership. All right, let's get started here. All right, so California Dream Program, this can be just a little bit refresher course. Some of you may know about it, some of you may not, but what it is, let me make this little thing a little bit bigger here. What it is, it's a shared appreciation. This is a loan, but what differs from this loan than from other loans is there's no interest. What you do is once you either sell the house or you refinance for the second time, you pay back a shared appreciation. So that's the interest for this loan. Now, let me give you an example here. If you take a look at the left-hand side, all the way to your left, if you bought a home for $500,000, you can use up to 20% down payment. So in this case, it's going to be $100,000 for the Dream for All loan. You would come in with a first mortgage of $400,000. Then let's say, for example, in 5 years, that home is now worth $640,000. So that house over the 5 years went from 500 to 640,000. That's $140,000 in appreciation. How this program works, depending on your income, it is going to either share in 15 or 20%. In this example, it's going to be 20%. So they'll take 28,000, and your share of the appreciation will be 112. So when you sell the home back, you have to pay back the loan and the appreciation of 128,000. Pretty simple, right? Makes sense. All right, let's keep going. So who qualifies for this program? So eligible buyers are first-time home buyers purchasing an owner-occupied home anywhere in California. So the borrower requirements are going to get to be a first-time home buyer. You have to be a citizen or national of the United States. You have to meet credit, income, and lower loan requirements of CalHAPA's first mortgage program. And at least one borrower must, and here is a change from last year, be a first generational home buyer. And believe me, we'll dive into that in a second, and be a current California resident. First time home buyer definition. So both applicants must be first time home buyers. And what a home buyer is take a look at that second paragraph. It's a first time home buyer is defined as a borrower who has not had any ownership interest in any principal residence or resided in a home owned by a spouse during the past 3 years. Notice the key word there is principal residence. So a lot of people assume that if they own a home, they don't qualify. But let me give you an example where that would not be true in this definition. Let's say you had a rental property, let's say on the East Coast, and you haven't lived there for 5 years, and here you are renting. As long as you're renting and you don't own any other owner-occupied homes in the last 3 years, you just had that one property and you haven't lived there for 5 and it's a rental, you qualify under this definition as a first-time home buyer. But here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So what they did this year is they added on the first generational home buyer definition. So at least one of the buyers or borrowers must meet this definition. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can walk through it. So a first generation home buyer is defined as a home buyer who has not been on title, held any ownership interest, or have been named on a mortgage to a home that has a permanent foundation and own the land in the United States in the last 7 years. So what that means is, let's say you owned a mobile home, but you paid the park or rental space. That does not count as ownership. So as long as you meet that first criteria, it goes from 3 years to 7 years. So far, you qualify as a first generation home buyer. But it gets a little trickier. Then it says, and, if you notice the and, to the best of the home buyer's knowledge, whose parents, biological or adoptive, do not have any present ownership interest in a home in the United States, or if deceased whose parents did not have any ownership interest at the time of death in a home in the United States. So what they're saying there is that if your parents currently own a home, or if they passed away and they owned a home, you are not a first generational home buyer by this definition. Now, the trick here is the key is that you're going to have to, what does it mean by to the best of the home buyer's knowledge? Are you going to have to sign an affidavit? What does that even look like? That I can't tell you, but that is really important language. Then there's a or there, or an individual who has at any time been placed in foster care or institutional care. So if you've been in foster care, then you would qualify as a first generational home buyer. Very interesting, huh? Okay, owner occupancy. All borrowers must occupy the property as their primary residence within 60 days. There's no non-occupant co-borrowers or no non-occupant co-signers are not allowed. Now, just to summarize everything that we just went through, to qualify for Dream for All Shared Appreciation Loan, you must use with Dream for All Conventional, right? It's a CalHFA conventional loan. All borrowers must be a first-time home buyer. One borrower must be a first generational home buyer. One borrower must be a current resident in California. So, for example, if you have families that are moving from outside California to here, if one of them is not a current resident, they will not qualify. So at least one needs to be a current California resident and may be used for closing costs and or down payment assistance. Now, the maximum shared appreciation loan is going to be either or. It's either going to be $150,000 or 20% of the sales price or appraised value, whichever is less. So in other words, if you do a loan, if you're buying a home for, let's say, 200,000, the max loan that they will give you is going to be, 40,000, and it's not going to be 150,000. So it's going to be capped at the 20% down payment. Now, what we're going to look at here is the income limits have changed from last year. They've actually reduced the income limits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this screen up here just a little bit for you to take a look. If you want copies of this, just reach out to me. I'd be happy to give it to you. But take a look. Places like Contra Costa is going to be a combined household income of 234,000. You have Napa at 205, Nevada County. So there's all the counties. Now, what's really important here is that if you believe you make more income than that, still click on that QR code, let's talk, because the rule is that they are only supposed to use the income that the lender uses to qualify. So what does that mean, and why do I bring that up? Let's say, for example, I'm just using radical numbers here to make it easier to understand. Let's say you are a person that just started a new job where you get a salary of, let's say, 100,000, but you also make, let's be crazy, a commission of 300,000, and you live in Contra Costa County. So if you made 300,000 commission plus $100,000 in salary, that is higher than the maximum allowed income. However, if you have not had that commission for the last 2 years, lenders cannot use it to qualify. So we would only qualify you based off the 100,000 salary that you're currently making. So on the surface, you wouldn't qualify. However, from a lending perspective, you would. So my point in bringing this up is don't make assumptions. Click that QR code. Let's have a conversation. It's better to know than to wonder. And this is such a great program. I don't want you to miss out on that opportunity based off of false assumption. This is important, refinancing and resubordination. So that allows you to refinance, because remember, it's a second mortgage, so it's a lien on your property. So you have your first mortgage lien, then you have your second mortgage lien. So if you want to refinance that property, CalHFA is going to have to approve that refinance. So what they're saying is they will allow you to refinance one time as a rate and term, so you cannot pull any cash out. The second time you refinance, you will have to pay off the amount of the down payment or the loan amount they gave you plus any shared appreciation that has occurred at that time. All right, before we get in this, I'm going to go back for a second. I'm going to bring up numbers. These are not loan commitments. These are just ideas for us to kind of gauge how you can utilize this program. Now, if you want loan numbers, if you want specific, closing costs, APRs, rates, and stuff like that, it's easy for the interest rates because the interest rates are posted on CalHFA's website. We all go to the same place for this, so the rates are going to be the same. But what I'm about to show you is just really to show you how you can leverage this program, either to save money on a monthly basis or how you can increase your purchase price. Maybe you want to be in a more desirable location or just have a bigger house. All right, is that a deal? Okay, fair. All right, let's go ahead and bring up the first set of numbers here. So what I'm going to show you here is how you can save money on a monthly basis. So take a look at the left-hand column. Actually, take a look at the middle column. It's going to be normal. It's labeled normal, and that would be your normal pre-approval today without this program. And let's work our way down. Let's say someone was pre-approved at a purchase price of 500,000, 3% down payment. That's a first-time home buyer conventional loan. They would have to bring in about $15,000 for a down payment. That would give them a loan of about 485. Let's say rates today are about a 6.625 with their principal and interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, and mortgage insurance. Their total payment would come to 3,952. Now their cash to close, just assuming to keep it really easy to look at, their closing costs, which include, title fees, appraisals, property taxes, etc., comes to about 15,000. Their total cash to close is going to be 30,000. Now let's say they utilize the California Dream program. Let's go and take a look at the column on your right-hand side. Let's go and scroll down to their total payment. You notice that they're going to save $700 a month, taking their payment down from 3,952 all the way down to 3,232,000, or excuse me, dollars per month. And their cash to close is going to drop as well from 30,000 to 50,000. This is huge. This is such a savings, and this is going to help those families that need or want to buy a home that couldn't afford in the past, give them an opportunity for homeownership. But let's say you're that family that your max pre-approval isn't getting you where you need to live, or a house big enough to house all your kids, or better locations. This is another powerful way that you can use this program. So let's say, for example, they're approved. You notice I changed the slide at a payment of $3,952. So to keep that same payment of $3,952, they can increase their purchasing power from 500,000 to 616,000. That's a huge increase, and still their cash to close goes down, or it goes from 30,000 to 50,000. I mean, this is such a powerful program. It's going to help so many families out. So the next question is how do I get qualified, and what do I need to do? Well, this is a great change that they've made. And so here's the process. Number one, you have to get pre-approved with a CalHFA lender, which we are one of them. We can get you fully pre-approved. And then what we do is we give you this form. It's a lender pre-approval letter that we have to fill out to give to you. Then come April, you have to put it in. You have to submit it to a website that they're going to put you into a lottery. Once you are picked, they will give you a voucher, which I believe once you receive that voucher, you have 90 days to identify a property, get into contract, and lock your loan. So you don't need to close on your loan. You just have to have the loan locked. So even if it takes longer to close than 90 days, at least it's A, giving you time to find a house. B, when you get your offer accepted, you know the funds are going to be there. I think it lasted 9 days last time. And C, it'll give you plenty of time to get that right house, get it locked, and close and utilize this program. So there it is. Remember, there's that QR code in the top right-hand corner. Would absolutely love the opportunity to meet you, to help you and your family navigate this amazing program. My name is Paul O'Brantz, owner of Clear to Close Brokers. I hope you found this helpful. If you know anybody that is interested in this program, please forward it off to them. I hope my hopes is to help families this year utilize this program and just make a great decision. Anyways, Paul O'Brantz, Clear to Close Brokers. Take care. Bye now.